Hello everyone. In this video we're going to talk about diesel heaters and especially about the pumps. So on the bench here I have a couple of diesel heater pumps, different brands, different qualities, different prices, and the goal of that video is to go over the differences of the different pumps. We range from the Amazon Basic with a black plug, that's quite an old one, and we go to all the way up to the S-Bar, the new version, and you can see directly it has a new plug, which is supposedly much more quiet. We're gonna divide that video in mainly three categories. So we're gonna talk about the specifics of the different pumps that we have here, and then we'll do a test as we measure the noise, or should I say we compare the different noise they make, because I don't have any precise instrument to measure the actual noise, but with my phone we'll be able to compare different volumes. And then we'll do a test of how many output they actually do. All of these pumps are supposedly calibrated for 22 milliliters per 1,000 clicks. So we can see on most of them some markings, like this one says 12 volt 22. We have a 22 here, this one 22 as well, 22, and again a 22 on this one. We range from a couple of dollars here to over $100 on an S-Bar, the new one that is supposedly much quieter. As we can see directly, there are a few noticeable differences. This one is the old original Chinese generic pump, and you can see there's a black plug. Then they started to introduce the green plugs that were supposedly quieter. We'll measure that later. Then they introduced some version with an included filter that we can open here and clean up if necessary. So again, we'll try that. And they're supposed to be quieter as well. We have different pumps like this one. As you can see, the form factor, instead of being like pressed sheet metal, this one looks like it's been machined. So we're going to test this one. This is a standard S-Bar or Übersprasher pump. And this one is the new one from S-Bar as well, as you can see the logo here. But if you look closely, you'll notice that the plug is different now. That's a new version. And we have also another main difference. All of these pumps, well, they have some markings with an arrow like that here to indicate the flow of the diesel. This one also has a flow indicated right here on the plug, and you can see immediately this one, the plug is oriented the other way. So instead of having the plug on the top, you need to have the plug on the bottom. We'll also talk about different way of attaching the pump to the frame of your truck or whatever you want. So we have those, well, that came like the very initial, very basic clamp that are no good. And then we have these. These are rubber support where we can simply slide the pump in it, and they provide some isolation from vibrating and transmitting sound to your frame. we have different brands. So this one is a Webasto. This one is an Espar. This one is a Chinese generic. And there are some differences in weight, but most especially in hardness of the rubber. And there is also this. This is something to encapsulate a pump. So it does not work with all the pumps, but for the old ones, you can put it in there and it's supposed to insulate the sound. So we'll try that as well. And then we'll quickly talk about the pipes, because for the pumps we need to connect pipes to it. There are differences. Some are good, some are bad. So let's dive in. Let's start by measuring how much they weigh, and we'll see if there is much differences. 208, 193. This one I expect to be heavier because of the filter. 203, not really. This one feels heavier. That's the machined one. 241, definitely heavier so far. The Espar, 173. And the new Espar, 168. So they are pretty much in the same range, except for this one that feels heavier, different. That said, I'm not sure there is much difference in how much they weigh, and it doesn't make any difference on their performance. Next, we're going to talk about the resistance for the solenoid, and for that I have my multimeter here. So I have attached it to a plug, and we will see the different resistance for each plug, for each pump. We have 4.9 ohms, 5.1, pretty much in the same range, 8, 7, very good, okay, 6.6 amps, ohms, sorry, 4.7, and the Espar 9.6. So the Espar has a totally different resistance for the solenoid. Let me try this one. Let me reset up with a different plug. Here we read 9.6. So there is a clear difference of resistance between the Espar and the rest of it. That might explain why some of them are not fully compatible. Some controllers do not handle properly like a higher resistance in the pump. But nevertheless, we'll try. I have just a Chinese heater here that I use. I'm going to use this heater, and I have like a power supply. I'm going to use this heater, Chinese, with this controller, and we'll put the pumps in priming mode, and we'll test and see if it works. Also, I want to talk about the inlet and outlet pipes, because as you can see, we have different diameters. So this one is clearly bigger, and some of them have like a big diameter inlet and a small outlet. This one has small inlet and outlet. This one has a big inlet and outlet. So we have different kind of mix and match here. So for that, I want to talk quickly about the tubing. First, with your cheap Chinese diesel heater, you have that kind of nylon pipe. This is no good. This is, first of all, it's too big. It will most likely create bubbles that will stay, like the fluid could go around the bubble and the bubble will stay in place. And because these are dosing pumps, it's important to have a line that is free of any bubble. You can find some smaller, that they call harder lines. As you can see, they're not as flexible as this one. So we have different lines. We have the cheap version that comes with any Chinese diesel heater. This basically is no good. First of all, the diameter is way too big. That will most likely create some bubbles that will stay in the line, and even by priming your pump, you won't be able to get rid of the bubbles because the fluid will find a way to pass around. There's not enough flow in the pump to push the bubble all the way out. So because these pumps are metering pump, it's important that they send the perfect amount of fluid each time. I recommend using some smaller and more rigid pipes. These are 4 millimeters, sorry, by 1.5. This is a 5 millimeters, so the outside diameter is 5, and it's 1.5 millimeter inside, same as this one. The difference is you can get some connectors like these, for example, push fit connectors. And that's you can do a Y very quickly and efficiently. The 5 millimeters is a bit more less flexible, I would say. This one comes with Webasto, I guess. And the way you use these is you have some of those rubber connectors. So you push that in and you push the plug, you push that. So that's where it's important to have the proper connectors and pipes that are properly flexible. This is too big. You can find some smaller ones like that. Because of course here you would create a leak very easily. As if I take this one, I can push it in and force it in, and that I'm confident with a proper clamp, it will not leak. So make sure you have the proper lines. That's not the subject of this video, so I'm not going to extend too much on the lines. But if you have one idea to go with, throw it in the garbage. Now, for the mounting options, well, sometimes in the old days they would ship you some metal clamp like this. This, again, absolutely no good. Throw it in the garbage. Then they changed it for some rubber mount like that, and we can definitely see some differences. This one is a Webasto. This one is an Espar, and this one is a Chinese generic. And the main difference is the softness of the rubber. You can see here. Let's try with just a scale. If I take this one and I press down, it takes about 1.4 kilogram for the two parts to touch here. 1.5 kilograms. If I take this one from Webasto, from Espar, sorry, you see it's harder. It's 2.2 kilograms. If I take the Chinese version, this is hard rubber. This goes over the 5 kilograms, which is the limit of my my scale here. So I don't know. We'll try. We'll put them on the wall. We'll put some pumps in it, and we'll measure the difference in noise. See if there is any. Oh, and this is a mount that is supposed to isolate the pump so it would not make so much noise. It's good to know that it works with that old pump. Same with the green top here. Okay. But after that, if I look at the one with the filter, it will not fit, of course. This one, not a chance. And the Aspar ones, well, no, they don't fit. They will not be able to close properly. And same for the new one. No, not the same form factor. So it's really for the old Chinese pumps. And with this, we're gonna try with these. Does it make any difference for the sound? All right. Probably the part that you're um, the most interested in. What's the sound they make? How much noise? Is there a difference? So I'll just put the pump into priming mode, and immediately we can hear the pump going on. Bear in mind, this is currently when the pump is free of any fluid, so it's not primed. It's normal, it makes some noise. Okay, for the new Aspar here, so I have the plug that was provided to me, and it goes like this inside. For now, I will simply connect the wires. There is no polarity necessary, like the pump will work both ways. Eventually, we'll do simply a piggyback. You can order those plugs, the opposite one, from AliExpress. I'll leave a link in the description below, and then you can simply make a piggyback instead of cutting your harness if you have this one, especially because the pump, the plug is coming from the other way. So if you cut it, maybe you won't have enough wire to go all the way around. So I recommend that you build a small piggyback harness. For now, because I don't have the plug, I haven't received it yet. I'm simply gonna touch the wires inside the connector. So in terms of sound, there is the volume, of course, but there is the pitch. And I would say clearly the new Espar quiet pump is very much quieter than the rest of it. This one, the billet one, this is pretty surprising and quiet. On the other hand, the original Espar is pretty loud. This one supposed to be sold as a quieter pump. If you look on Amazon or eBay, not so much. And these two, well, they're loud, but they have a different pitch, different tone. Let's hear it again. But definitely they're loud, and if they are connected to anything metal, that's going to resonate much more. If I put them on the plywood, anyway, let's put them on a bench with some diesel in it. Let's prime them. They're supposed to do less noise when there is diesel in it. So we'll start. Let me set up all this, and we'll compare the noise. And for that, we'll put them in one of those rubbers. All right, we'll take the loudest pump, and let's try to see if there's any difference in using this enclosure or like a hard versus a soft mounting. Clearly, I put that in it there. Well, I guess the noise comes from the pipe itself, so that does not make much of a difference. Oh, this is hard to put through. So I will remind you that the pump should be mounted with an angle. I have my diesel line here. For now it's empty. I'm going to prime it, and we're going to hear if there's a difference in the noise that it's making after being primed. I can see the bubbles that are about to arrive to the pump. We can see here the diesel coming in. So let's hear if there's a difference in the sound. Let's wait for the diesel to come out. Okay, now we can hear a difference, and we can see the bubbles coming out of the pump. So the pump is now fully primed. Let's compare that sound with the sound on the other support. I have to say, this support is so hard, I have a difficult time properly fitting the pump inside. In comparison to this one, where I can stretch the rubber more easily and put the pump in. I say it makes no difference if it's hard or soft, barely noticeable. The only thing is it's much easier to fit your pump inside. Let's try with this maybe. Okay, that might work a bit. But like I said, this is for the old pump. Nah, it's definitely louder than with the soft support. So in terms of attachment, this is the best way to attach. This is total waste of money. Still go with a good one, because this one I could not hear a big noticeable difference in sound for the hard versus the soft rubber. It's easier to mount the soft rubber than the hard one. Also, this one, as you can see, does not have a metal insert, a rivet, while this one has. Okay, that means whatever screw you put will correctly hold the support onto the frame or wherever you attach it. While if you screw too hard on this one, the screw will go through the rubber and eventually this could disconnect from wherever you mounted it. So have a good one, either Webasto, Espar, or a Chinese one, but make sure there is the rivet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run a full cycle of priming. I know it lasts about 3 minutes, but the cycle, like the frequency is not always the same. So what I'll do is in post, I will count all the clicks of the pump and we'll see how many milliliters of diesel are poured into the bécher, and we'll be able to measure the actual flow of the pump. So let's start with this one. All right, so this pump, we have 98, the 90, 96 milliliters, sorry, 9.6 milliliters in one cycle. So again, I'll count how many clicks we had in the pump and we'll be able to do the math. Let's do all the other pumps and we'll compare after. This one went way over 10. I can estimate it's about 10, 10.4, 10.6. Currently I'm priming the pump. This one takes a bit longer because of the filter here. But after the priming is completed, I'll do another test of a full cycle, and then we'll be able to measure how much the pump push in volume. And we end up with almost 11. Yeah, 11. With this pump, we get 10 and a half. Okay, now the SPAR pump. So the SPAR was pretty loud, and it pushed 10 milliliters in one cycle. So maybe not as much as the other ones, and this one is, yeah, pretty loud for a pump of that price. So finally, the new SPAR quieter pump. Remember this one, the plug goes towards the back and not towards the exit, so towards the input and not the output of the pump. Let's start this one. And in the end here, we have 11 milliliters. So pretty much the same for all the pumps. So in the end, what did we learn here? Well, basically the old ones, these are generic. They work, but they're kind of loud. This one, I call bullshit. The filter, and it's not really quieter. I mean, between this and this, there might be like a tone difference. I was pretty surprised with this one, and honestly, this one feels quite quiet. The old SPAR is quite loud. It works, it's properly calibrated, it's very expensive for the price. The new SPAR is quite silent, to my opinion. I'm not sure about the new plug. It means you're gonna have to do a piggyback small harness to be able to properly mount this pump. But yeah, if I had to replace mine on my truck, I would either use this one or this one with a piggyback harness. And volumes, this seems okay. Turns out this one is calibrated for 18.5 19, 18.5 19, where all the others are 22. So it makes sense that the volume push was not the same. So don't spend any money on these rubber boots. They don't work, and they work only with the old pumps. So this is useless. Spend a good amount of money on a proper mount. Make sure you find the proper mount that is flexible, easy to install, and that has the metal grommet here, so the bolt do not go through. This feels good. All the pumps can fit in that. They're all the same diameter, and make sure you have proper lines. Don't use the green lines like I was using for the input and the output. It's better to have like a 4 or 5 millimeters outside diameter and a 1.5 millimeter inside diameter. So if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer to you.